right, happy Wednesday, everybody. Let me go ahead and stop this. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Let me go ahead and stop this. As always, a double. All right, good to see you, everyone. Let me stop this track really quickly. Here's what we're going to talk about today. So we're going to go through Blues Volume 1 and Volume 2 and a couple specific licks from each one of those. And before I start, I want to say thank you to all of you who are taking advantage of the sale that I have. I'm not a guy that sits around and just sells everything. You guys know that. In fact, I gave you guys Blues Volume 1 and Blues Volume 2 all the licks, and I did trainings on that recently, but I put in the description there if you wanted to get the resource in addition to me going through every single lick, that I would make that available. And so it is on sale. It's very affordable, and I just want to say thank you to all of you who have taken advantage of that. And even if you didn't get any of the courses, that's fine, but it is the only 2 courses that I have for sale. But I just appreciate you hanging out and wanting to get better at practicing. So make sure you go through those videos. Volume 1 and Volume 2, it says every lick. And what we're going to talk about today is a few of those licks and how to transpose. How do we deal with the idea of transposition? So we're going to dig in right now, and what I'm going to do is first talk a little bit about the blues scale and how important it is, and also how important it is to learn our major scales. So if we learn our major scales, and then we can pretty much use math to get us through blues scales, through how to build chords, through how to transpose licks. And so a very easy thing is to say C major, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and you think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The blues scale is just 1, flat 3, 4, sharp 4, 5, flat 7, and 1 on top. Now I like to break this up, the blues scale, into 2 different sections. The first section, as you guys know, my very first thing I teach is the first 5 notes of the blues scale. You can not only survive but thrive playing the blues if you know the first 5 notes of each blues scale. So no matter what key you're in, doesn't matter what chord you're on, you know that's going to work. All those notes are going to work and sound amazing. But what I want you to notice is, as I'm doing this shape, we call this shape 1. Shape 2 is when you go to the top half of the blues scale. So you get the minor third on top. And the reason I'm mentioning this today is because as we deal with transposition, there are certain things you can do to really help things. Like, for instance, if I say, all right, the first five notes of the blues scale is going to be the root, the flat third, the fourth, the sharp 4, and the 5th note. You guys know that when I transpose that to the key of F, and I say, all right, I'm going to do the root, okay, the F major scale has 1 flat and it's B flat, but I'm going to do root, minor third, 4, sharp 4, and 5. So now I have this specific shape. So in its most basic sense, you learn your major scales, and then you learn these patterns like the blues scale, and then it really helps you transpose into all keys. Now in just a second, we're going to actually go over a couple of the licks inside Blues Volume 1 and Volume 2, but I think it's really important to talk about transposition even in using the blues scale. 1, flat 3, 4, sharp 4, 5, because I love to build confidence and knowing that no matter what key I'm in, we're going to sound good. Let me give you a practical example. If I'm just doing root 5th to root 6, like a boogie-woogie basic pattern, and I learned this little 5-note pattern, I'm just going to go up and down, which I call automatic pilot. You guys know that. You can loop it for days. All right, let me make sure we are live. I didn't check to see. It says we're currently offline. How could that be that we're not offline? We're online, right? Okay, I'm showing we're live, but something's very strange the way. Okay, we have at least a couple of likes coming in. That lets me know that you guys are at least seeing this. Okay, so my first thing to tell you is to take this first 5 notes of the blues scale, we call that shape 1, and the shape 2. So if I turn on a backing track, all right, we're online. Awesome, Rick, thank you for letting me know. And just hang in there, guys, because after we go through this very basic overview of how to use the blues scale and how to transpose, hold on a second, that's the boss calling. 1 second. What's up, Scott? Hey, man. Yes. Hey, Scott, could I call you in about 15 minutes? Is that... Okay, I got you. All right, I will call her in 15 minutes. Thanks, man. All right, bye. All right, when the boss calls, you got to answer. Okay, so back to reality. All right, so if you have the first 5 notes of the blues scale and on top you have the shape on top. Let me demonstrate by turning on the track here. 1, a 2, and 1, 2. You cannot go wrong by doing this. Even when I go to the F chord, and I will cut up this video. Isn't that nice? Just so easy. So you play a little bit and then you rest a little bit. All right, now let me stop this just a minute because I want to show you a couple of very small variations. Watch this. So one of my good friends, he was a student first of mine and then became just a really good friend of mine. His name is Dwight. And during one of our lessons one time, he did this little, we had the first 5 notes of the blues scale, and he did this, getting the tritone, which is such a neat interval, right? And then it goes back to the blues scale, or still in the blues scale, but instead of going to the root, it goes flat 7 first, and then the root. So I love that little idea so much that it made it into Blues Volume 4. I was trying to think which volume. Blues Volume 4 is the very first lick in the chorus. So that would be a perfect example of saying, okay, I'm going to use my knowledge of transposition and say, ba-ba. The first thing is whatever major scale you're in, C, and I'm going to go root, and the tritone is the sharp 4 of the scale, then 4, da-da-da-da-da, and then down to the flat 7. So no matter what key I'm in, I could do the same thing. If I'm in the key of F, and then down to the flat 7 of F, right? If I'm in the key of G and I go G, there's the tritone, and down to the flat 7. If you understand that, Rick and anybody else, got it in the chat. That helps me know that you guys are with me. And now let's just dig into these licks that I was going to show you from Blues Volume 1 and Blues Volume 2. Okay, so the first one is from Blues Volume 1, and it's the idea of the C7 chord. So if you have C, E, G, and B flat, that's 1, 3, 5, flat 7 of the C major scale. Pretty simple, pretty easy for what we do. Now watch this. If I take my index finger and I just go up a whole step, now I'm perfectly in the lick, the start of the lick. This lick actually does this. Now, even once you get the lick, then you could just make it your own. You can go 1, so I changed it up just a little bit. Or I could do it like this. Or triplet. So lots of different ways to change a lick once you get it under your fingers. But to get the lick to start with, in any key, you're just going to say, all right, I know the major scale, and I'm going to do 1, 3, 5, flat 7 of the C major scale. And then I'm going to say, all right, my index finger is going to go up by a whole step. And now I'm perfectly set up to play this lick. This is it from Blues Volume 1. And I do 2, 3, 1, da-da-bum. And then I think, what's the 4 chord of the C blues? It's F. Da, da da ba da. So now I'm on F and A. So I'm thinking about, I'm in the key of C, and what's the 4 chord of C? F. So I find my F and A, da 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 da, and back to C, and then I go C triad, minor third to major third. Now, the key to this specific lick is to think in triplets. 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and if you get this far and you say, well, you know, trying to learn the lick, if I was saying put this with your bass line and you go, or this. For some people, that would be really, really hard. And the reason is, if you don't think of it in triplets, it is hard. And that's why I'm showing you guys that the way to unlock, or to what we call locking up the hands at iMusic Academy, is think in triplets. 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then. And I always say that to play things slow and straight is really important. But in this case, we're just going to play it slow and do the triplet. 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then 1 and then 2 and then 3. And for those of you who've been hanging out at iMusic Academy, for my courses go very much in detail. It's really important for me to break things down so slowly that you guys can easily learn how to play this stuff. This is just a fun overview of Blues Volume 1 and Volume 2 on how I like to practice. And if you want to watch it, sort of in-depth trainings, just go back to Blues Volume 1 and Blues Volume 2, some of our recent videos that we just did. And if you want the resources, the sale is still on and you can get those. And thanks again for everybody who's been getting them. I'm really kind of surprised and very thankful for those of you who've been purchasing my older courses, but the information is as relevant as it is today as it was yesterday and when I first created those courses. So here we go. Da 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 da. 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then 1 and then 2 and then 3 and here's a nice thing. With these slide keys, minor third to major third, when I go up to the F chord, it's the same exact shape. C7 up to F7. Notice that my hand is spaced out the same amount, and now I'm doing the same thing. Watch this. Now that I'm building it on the 4 chord, which is F, here's my process. I'm going to go F7, 1 of an F scale. Now I'm thinking F major, 3 of an F scale. C is the 5th, E flat is the flat 7, and watch, my index finger goes up by a whole step. 1 and then what's the 4 chord of the F scale, or the 4th note? 1, 2, 3, 4. So B flat. So now we're here. And then minor third to major third gives you the F chord, the F triad. And if I think in triplets, 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then. Okay, now we only have one more chord to do on a very simple blues for the key of C. We have the 5 chord, which is G, and now I'm going to think about the G major scale, which has 1 sharp, F sharp, but instead of a major 7, I'm going to flat the 7 since we're doing a G7, and I'm going to do 1 of a G scale, the 3rd, the 5th, which gives you the triad, and the flat 7 of the G scale. Now, what do I do from here? I go up a whole step with my index finger, and now I'm here, 1 and then. And now I go, what's the 4 chord of the G scale? C, and then I'm right there on the C and E, so. And then minor third to major third. And once again, my hand is in the same shape. It's spaced out the same, so even if I'm on G, or F, or C. And if you understand that, put that in the chat. And if you're watching this on the replay, at least until I take it down and edit it, leave a comment. Let me know if you understand this or if you have any more questions. So here's what I would do. If I'm really focusing in on our practice time, which we do every week at in our Blues Academy, is we say, all right, we have specific goals. Maybe your goal for today is to learn the C blues scale. The fingering is 1, 2, 3, 4, thumb under, and you can go 1, 2, 3, or 1, 3, 4, whatever you want to do. I think I do 1, 3, I think. 1, 3 there. And if I'm going up to play the blues scale again, I just do my thumb instead of my fourth finger there. So maybe my goal is to not only to play the C blues scale, but I'm going to transpose this idea up a half step. So I have, now I'm thinking D flat. So if I'm thinking in D flat, I have to know my D flat major scale. D flat, E flat, F, G flat, A flat, B flat, C, and D. And don't be scared of learning your major scales. I also think it's important to learn about correct fingering to use. So even for the D flat major scale, hey Vicky, how you doing? 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Okay, this is not a teaching on how to play the scales really, but it's more about transposition. But once you learn the D flat major scale, then I can do the same thing. 1, and then the flat 3, 4, sharp 4, 5, flat 7, 1. And once I get this idea, and I can even take it one little step at a time, I can go, all right, C, first 5 notes of the blues scale. What about in D flat? I can even hear the sound right here. Get up into the keys for D flat. Now my fingering is going to be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now imagine how good you're going to feel if you just take this up a half step and now you're all of a sudden playing in D flat. That's a pretty cool thing to do. And sometimes if we don't really understand how to transpose, and we might feel overwhelmed about transposition, right? And how many times do people usually in bands play in D flat? Not as much as other keys, but it's still important and a really good thing to practice, to play in different keys. So I can do a D flat. Now if I'm thinking the same thing of this is the first 5 notes of the C scale, if I go up and now we have the first 5 notes of the D flat blues, remember that this is shape 1, and the top half the blues, which is in the key of C, it's 5, flat 7, root, and minor third. So up a half step. Now I'm doing D flat blues, and I have the top half of blues. I can go do da 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 da, and all those notes are going to work. Same thing for the first 5 notes of the D flat blues. Back to C. Awesome. Hey, awesome hanging out with you, Rick. Thanks so much for stopping in, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks so much, man. Have a great appointment. Okay, now let's go ahead and talk about one more lick, okay? Because this is the lick that you guys have been waiting for, right? Everybody loves this lick. Okay, this is such a fun lick, and just like in the course, this one is in Blues Volume 2, and of course, I always show the fingerings on everything and exactly how to play these things. Let me show you, just for anybody who doesn't know about my courses. This is from Blues Volume 2, and everything's very interactive with these PDFs. It has the fingerings of every lick, shows you all the notes, and then if you want to actually watch it, you just click on the icon up here, which is sort of the camera icon, and it'll take you to the teaching part of the video. Okay, so this lick right here is one of our most popular licks that was actually in my 1,000,000 view video, my first 1,000,000 views. It was one of the licks in there. So I know you guys love this lick. I love it too. Had a gig last night and I played this lick for sure. Okay, so what's happening here is you have your minor third to major third and sliding from the E flat to E. And then notice that I come down the C triad in second inversion. G, E, C. Now why is this important and why am I thinking about the C major arpeggio coming down? Is because I'm visualizing things for transposition. I know that in this case, my minor third to major third is a slide, my third finger, and then I go up to the 5th and back down, and I use 3 to 3, 5, 3, 2, 1, and then just like I did in the last lick, I said, what's the 4 chord of the C blues? And it's F. So I cross over with 3 and 5, and now I'm on the F chord, and then I go minor third to major third, and there's my C triad. So let me do that again. 1, triplet, and 2, and 3, and 4 and 1 and. So we can do. So in order to get this, I have to think 1 triplet and 1 triplet and 2 and 3 and 1 triplet, 1 triplet and 2 and 3. So even slower. 1 triplet and 1 triplet and 2 and 3. Even slower. 1 triplet and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So you can break this stuff down as slow as you need to do to get it to where it feels really good. Now, I can play it like this where it's really fast and you go. But I actually prefer it a little slower. I prefer playing it like this. Or this. And it actually goes all the way down 6, 5, and root. Now, the reason I mentioned this specific lick today is because we're talking about transposition. Well, how in the world do you play this if you go up to D flat? And I want to show you a very important tip. When you're talking about transposition, it's important to really dig in into each key and figure out the best way to play things. If you don't have a game plan, it is really hard to play this kind of lick in D flat. So I'm going to break this down for you. And then once I break this down for you, you'll be able to transpose this into other keys. And if you need my help, I'll help you. But each key, some of the keys actually require a little bit different fingering in order to really make it work. And I'm going to demonstrate that right now. So if I'm in C, it's easy. 3, 5, 3, 2, 1. If I'm in D flat, the first part, I could slide hammer on minor third to major third. You have to go. So I have to go 2, 3, 5, 2, 1. Which already presents a little challenge, right? I'm up into the keys. I have to hammer on my minor third to major third. But an easier way to do it, we'll actually do an easier version, but it's still going to be a little bit tricky, is you do 3, 5, 3, 2. We'll start right on the triplet. 1 triplet, 1 triplet, and 1 triplet, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. And now, watch this, because this is really important. If I do this, what's the 4 chord of the D flat blues? And I go D flat, E flat, F, G flat. So I'm thinking, what are the next notes? Here's my D flat triad in second inversion, and I'm up into the keys, and I cross over to get that G flat and a B flat, which is the 1 and 3 of a G flat chord. So we have this, and then I'm going to go hammer on minor third to major third. Now what's tricky about this is crossing over and nailing the G and B flat with fingers 3 and 5. The same way we did on C, we did the same thing. 3, 5, 3, and then we crossed over with 3 and 5. But if you go up to D flat, see how I just missed that? And then I got it. But it's so much easier to be consistent in a key like D flat if I do 2 and 4, because the fingers are actually wider here than your pinky and with your third finger. So it's a little bit more risky to just do 3, 5 there when you cross over. But if you do fingers 2, 4, in theory, it's easier. So I practice that. And then watch what happens. And right here, I do 1 and 3, 2, 1, 2, 1. So if I played this lick for you over and over again with the first finger, I'm not going to hit it all the time. But if I do the other one, I'm more likely to hit and be consistent. See how much easier that is? So when I started learning a lick like this, I took it through all the keys, and for D, it's just like the key of C. You can go right on 3, 5, 3, 2, 1, cross over with 3 and 5, no problem. So same thing with E flat. I actually do that there. I use 3 and 5, and then I slide finger 2, 4. 2 to 2, and then to 1. So I've gone through the practice of identifying the problems of certain keys. Let me give you one more example, and then we'll wrap this lesson up. But you have the key of C. If I go down to B, if I cross over here, what's the 4 chord of key of B, and I go E, and if I go right here and I go try to cross over here, that's a little bit difficult right there. See how that's not really clean. But if I cross over with finger 2 and 4, it's clean, right? If I go, and now here I do 1 and 3, 2, 1, which is the exact same kind of fingering as I did for D flat and B. If I try the other way, it's hit or miss. I'm getting it, but I'm way more consistent if I use the other fingering. So just know that as you're transposing things, it's good to spend a little time on each key. And what I would say is to not get overwhelmed, practice one simple idea up a half step. So it could be any key you could transpose, but it's not a bad idea to say, all right, I know the first 5 notes of the C blues scale, and now I'm going to go up, get into the keys, and do the first 5 notes of the D flat blues scale. All right, let me end this lesson by just playing a little bit with the track, and then we'll call it a day. Enjoyed hanging out with you guys today. So here's the blues scale. D, da, 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 da. Give you guys a quick bonus tip. I have to do that. I'm always wanting to make sure that you guys get more value. Okay, here's the tip that I was actually planning on mentioning. So in our Bob songbook that we have a tune called The More I play, I see a pattern. It's called I See a Pattern Blues. The more I play, I see a pattern. I see the blues scale, and I know that it is just what I need. So the whole song is a very simple thing. It's the blues scale coming down. But what makes it neat is the starting on the and. Instead of this, it does 1, da 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 da, and then it goes up, da 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 da, and then it goes to the sharp 4. This is a great lick that you could use all the way through the blues too, to give you a lot of fun tension if you're in that mood of. So your tip is to also practice the offbeat on the blues scale. And then the last part of that song goes, and then it goes up to the E flat. And I like the fingering. If I'm on the top half of the blues scale and I'm coming down, I'm going 3, 1, 3, 1, 4, 2. So the connection for the C blues scale is really getting to that 4th finger on the F sharp. If I get to there, I'm good. 4, 3, 2, 1. And your even more of a bonus tip is that remember that the first 5 notes of the blues scale, whatever key you're in, just go down 3 half steps, and now you're at the A blues scale. The first 4 notes of the A blues scale, all of those notes are going to work and sound amazing. All right. As I play this thing with the track, I'm going to play Dwight's lick, my very good friend, and this is for him. So we have. Very first lick in blues volume. I told Dwight this lick was going to be famous. I think it is. On the F chord, you can actually go same, you do use the C lick, but you go to E flat instead, and it works great. Now here I'm going to go up to G and 4. That's the blues scale. The more I play, I da, 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 da. Yeah, that lick right there, the longer lick, is from Blues Volume 2. So make sure you go back and watch the other video from Blues Volume 2 that shows you that the first lick in Volume 2 is 3 licks in one. First lick is the C6, minor third to major third, your Cruella de Vil. And the last part is very similar to this, but it's this. Anyway, so much fun. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this lesson, and I hope that you'll continue practicing. I'm still going to keep the 2 courses in my website on sale for the time being. As long as you guys are enjoying getting those, you don't have to get them. Remember that I teach every single lesson in Blues Volume 1 and Volume 2 in the recent videos that I did. But it helps me out very much if you guys do decide to get the PDFs. They are really cool, and for anybody who's just watching this, maybe for the first time, just know that the way these PDFs work are really nice. We spent a lot of time when we first originally created these. I think Blues Volume 2 was maybe in 2018 or something like that. So the videos are a little bit older, but it's still exactly how I teach. I break everything down, and everything's notated along with fingering, which is really important to me. So anyway, that right there even is the top half of the blues scale. Actually, all right, guys, have a great day. I'll see you in the next video.